We're counting down the 10 classic sights and sounds you won't find in Australia's grocery stores anymore. From beloved local icons and quirky shopping rituals to vanished childhood treats and truly personal service, these entries mark the end of an era shaped by changing laws, technology, and big business. Which lost tradition tops the list? Let's kick things off at number 10. In 10th place, the shelves once filled by Franklin's, Billo, Safeway, and a handful of other supermarket chains have quietly disappeared, leaving a retail landscape now dominated by just two giants. Franklin's, founded in 1941, became a household name with its no-frills black and white packaging and the promise of more in your trolley for less. At its peak, Buy Low boasted over 180 stores, instantly recognizable by their yellow and red signs, while Safeway's green branding was a fixture across Victoria until every store was rebranded as Woolworths from 1985 to 2008. Names like Jewel, Tuckerbag, Food for Less, Jack the Slasher, and Fleming's have all been absorbed or shuttered, swept up in a wave of mergers and buyouts from the 1980s through the early 2000s. The quirky local chains that gave each suburb its own flavour have vanished, setting the stage for the uniform, corporate shopping experience that followed. Number 9. The days when you could grab a packet of Winfield or Peter Stuyvesant from a vending machine near the supermarket entrance are well and truly over. Cigarette machines sat right by the trolleys, needing nothing more than a handful of coins, no questions asked, not even if you were a kid. Behind the checkout, rows of Benson & Hedges and other brands were on full display, colourful and bold, tempting impulse buyers and regulars alike. By 2012, plain packaging laws swept away those eye-catching boxes, and cigarettes vanished behind closed cabinets, with graphic health warnings taking centre stage. State bans on vending machines rolled out between 1996 and 2012, making it impossible to buy smokes with pocket change. The idea that you could once buy a packet of smokes as easily as a chocolate bar now sounds like something from another planet. 8th place goes to the humble price sticker, once slapped onto every tin, jar and packet in the shop. Before barcodes took over in the mid-1980s, staff would roam the aisles with a pricing gun, firing off that unmistakable click-click as they stamped each item by hand. Shoppers could spot a bargain right on the can, and if there was ever a price dispute at the checkout, you could wave the sticker as proof and win the argument on the spot. The arrival of barcode scanners promised lightning-fast queues, but it also meant the end of that tactile ritual and the jobs that came with it. These days, shelf tickets come and go, but the satisfying sound of the pricing gun and those sticky little labels are memories, not part of the weekly shop. Number 7. Nothing said behave yourself to Aussie kids quite like the promise of a 20-cent ride on the mechanical horse waiting by the supermarket entrance. These brightly painted, coin-operated horses rocked back and forth with a whirring motor and the clank of metal, parked right next to the trolley bay, prime real estate for pestering parents. Alongside the horse, rows of gumball and capsule machines stood ready to swallow spare change, offering up a rainbow of lollies or a plastic ring for your trouble. Every trip to Coles or Franklin's started with a negotiation. A good run through the aisles meant a ride or a handful of sweets on the way out. By the late 1990s and the early 2000s, these kid magnets were quietly wheeled away, replaced by rows of self-checkout screens and click-and-collect lockers. The playful chaos at the front door has given way to pure efficiency, but plenty of grown-ups still remember the thrill of that rocking horse and the taste of a hard-won gumball. Number 6. The ritual of groceries packed into sturdy brown paper bags by a dedicated bagger at the end of the checkout is a sight long gone from Australian supermarkets. The bagger knew the unspoken rules. Heavy tins and bottles went in first, bread and eggs always on top, and nothing squashed in between. With a practiced flick, they would snap open the bag and pack it just right, sometimes even carrying your shopping out to the car for a quick chat along the way. Tipping wasn't the Aussie way, but a friendly thank you was the norm. In the 1980s, paper gave way to single-use plastic bags, handed out by the handful, until the ban in 2018 swept them aside for good. Now it is up to each shopper to pack their own groceries, reusable bags in hand, with the personal touch of the bagger replaced by the cold, efficient self-service checkout. Number 5. The in-store cafe and Coles cafeteria was once the heart of the weekly shop. After weaving through the aisles, shoppers would settle in for a plate of pie and crinkle-cut chips drowned in gravy, washed down with a jug of bright red raspberry cordial. These cafes weren't just for a quick bite. They were a meeting spot, especially for older Aussies who'd catch up over a cuppa and a chat. Kmart's Holly's cafes became famous for their kid-friendly atmosphere and generous serves, making them a favourite stop for families. From the 1960s through the 1990s, these cafeterias were as much a part of the supermarket as the checkout. But as floor space became more valuable, the cafes slowly disappeared, replaced by shelves and fridges. Now the sense of community and comfort they brought is just a warm memory, swapped for grab-and-go counters and sushi bars. Number 4. The deli counter was a true highlight of the weekly shop, with its long glass display packed to the brim with shiny wheels of ham, spicy salami, and blocks of cheddar just waiting to be sliced. The staff behind the counter worked the silver slicer with a steady hand, sending out that satisfying clunk as they cut each piece to your exact order, thick or thin, as many slices as you needed. You could ask for a taste before you bought, and kids knew to hang around for a sneaky free slice of Fritz or cheese, handed over with a wink and a grin. Olives and pickled onions were scooped into little tubs and weighed up on the old school scales, the numbers spinning as you watched. The banter between staff and shoppers was almost as important as the food itself, making the deli counter a spot where taste, smell, and a bit of friendly chat all came together. Coming to the top 3, the clink of glass bottles in the trolley aisle once signalled a different era of grocery shopping. Soft drinks, cordial, and even milk came in sturdy glass bottles, often packed in heavy wooden crates that left dents in your shins and a satisfying rattle in the boot. In places like South Australia, every bottle carried a deposit, 10 or 20 cents back at the return depot, a little reward for bringing your empties home. The milkman would leave fresh bottles on the doorstep, and the empty ones would be rinsed and set out for the next round. Tomato sauce, Vegemite, and jam all came in glass jars, destined for a second life catching tadpoles or storing buttons in the kitchen drawer. There is a common yarn that everything tasted better from glass, and for many, that is a flavour memory plastic never quite matched. The simple act of returning bottles and the ritual of reusing jars around the house gave everyday groceries a cycle that connected the store to the home in a way modern packaging just cannot replicate. Number 2. The local corner shop and milk bar was once the beating heart of every Aussie neighbourhood. These tiny shops were more than just a place to grab bread and milk. They were where kids pressed their noses to the glass lolly jars, counting out 1 cent and 2 cent coins for a mixed bag of lollies. The shopkeeper knew every family by name and would happily jot down your groceries on the family account if you were a bit short, trusting you to pay next week. Milk bars served up thick shakes and spiders in tall glasses, with jukeboxes and pinball machines humming in the background. For many, it was the first taste of independence, sent to fetch the milk and coming home with sticky fingers and a smile. As shopping centres spread through the suburbs from the 1970s to the 1990s, these corner shops faded away, leaving behind memories of a warmer, more personal way to shop. And finally, in first place, the friendly butcher behind the counter was the beating heart of every Aussie supermarket from the 1950s through the 1980s. Dressed in a crisp white coat and striped apron, he stood behind a thick wooden chopping block, ready to slice, trim, and prepare your order exactly how you wanted it. Kids knew to linger for the free slice of Devon or Strasbourg, a little reward that made the weekly shop something to look forward to. The butcher remembered names, saved the best cuts for loyal customers, and offered advice on what was freshest that day. It wasn't just about meat. It was about trust, conversation, and the simple pleasure of being known. By the late 1990s, those counters gave way to pre-packaged trays, and the ritual of chatting with your local butcher faded, leaving behind memories of a warmer, more personal way to shop. Across all 10 changes, one truth stands out. As supermarkets chased speed and scale, personal connection faded away. Our shopping habits now prioritize convenience over community. What vanished was not just items, it was a sense of belonging. Share your favourite memory of old Aussie grocery stores in the comments below.